Okay, so I think there's going to be 2 trolleys on each of the chopstick rails, and they're going to have a giant rubber pad, maybe 10-foot square on top, about a foot thick, with these somewhat radially arranged 5-ton jacks that will give about 120 tons capacity on each chopstick, which would be like 240, enough to hold up a 200-ton super heavy, and you'll independently be ranged so they can do some rotation and some raising and lowering and maneuvering and rolling up and down the rails so they can independently place and get themselves ready to go. I think they'll use a full self-driving kind of algorithm where it'll do the simulation training, and they'll be able to control itself and use cameras to watch the incoming ship and then arrange these to grab the individual grid fins, and so you'll end up with these guys being able to position themselves on the fly quickly and also work in conjunction with the throttling of the engines to take some of the load off until they can manipulate them, kind of like using your fingers to roll a ball around in your hand. You could do the same thing by lifting and lowering and rotating to get the grid fins exactly right and maneuver everything. I imagine they'll have a human backup, just like they do on full self-driving on their Tesla, to be able to, in case something goes wrong and they can't see the ship, it's too foggy, there's smoke, something's not right, they can have a human operator go in and try and manipulate these things, which they're probably working right now in simulation to be able to catch and move a Starship or super heavy booster, and be able to manipulate these things individually by hand. So I think once they catch, they'll be able to power down the engines and settle it all the weight completely onto the chopsticks, and at that point it's a matter of just getting it back on its stand, locking it in, and maneuvering carefully, I guess, with the choreography of the individual pieces being able to shift and rotate in order to get the ship into its proper alignment, so, which should be interesting. I imagine once they catch for the first time, they'll hold still if it's not falling apart, and then they'll take some time to analyze it and figure out how they slowly move it into position, and that'll give them more data for the full self-driving sort of thing to control these individual little cars. So, alright, that's all I got. So hopefully that should be what's going on. It's just my guess on what the future will hold. You never know until you actually see it, so could be a lot simpler than this. I was trying to distribute the individual failure points into a multiple redundancies, so I thought this might actually work better. Even if one hydraulic fails, the rest take over, but who knows. Alright, signing off.